Malers, how do you do? This is my podcast and it's just for you. It's called TED Talks and it's a load of shite, but I hope you enjoy it because I've kept it like it's about an hour long and all about Teesside, the people, the places and the Boro pride. It's episode 80 of TED Talks, TED Hanky Podcast. I might do that as a new jingle going forward. Now we've hit 80 episodes, Mala.
Yeah, well, I don't know, because, like, all right, manners and podcast land and all that, right? People like that jingle of yours, don't they?
Hey, do you know what? Someone asked me to send it to them so he can have it as his ringtone, the daft get. So I did. So someone will be stood in like a queue in, I don't know, the chip shop, and all you hear is, "Now then, Malres, how do you do?" I can't even do an impression of myself.
Well, that is the hardest to do, though, isn't it? Yeah, I tell you now, like, the Thursday nights, like, as you might know, I'm no longer in the shed, am I, Ted? We're doing this through the computer thing now because I've moved. I'm staying with the live back now, aren't I?
If you've not tuned in on a Thursday night on Facebook and YouTube, we do a live show now, me and Mala. So it's like it's videoed live, and Mala does it around this lass's house called Broadback. He thought he was going on for the broadband, but she's actually just got a broad back, and it's going well, isn't it, mate? You not only do we get to do a funny show, but you get your balls tickled as well.
Yeah, well, and right, because it's lockdown, I have to stay here, don't I? Because you get in trouble if you like move about. So it's got a couple of advantages. Like, one, there's heating in this house, so I'm not freezing all the time, Ted. Do you know what I mean? Genghis comes to visit me now and again as well, which is class, because he just pops over and, like, you know what I mean? And we sit down and watch, like, she's got Netflix, so I've been watching that, like, karate thing on. It's class. You know, the Karate Kid, but it's, like, about the good lads.
Over the car.
Yeah, so I've been watching a bit of that, right? And I'm here so I can make sure no one comes round and parks her. So, like, I've got an exclusive flange at the minute.
So you are, if I was to reference a children's cartoon, you are Park Patrol, no one can tap Broadback.
Exactly. Well, right, and I'm enjoying it round here. It's class, like, but she says I have to go. Once lockdown's over, I have to return to the shed. But I'll be happy with that because I'm going to nick stuff. So, like, I've got my eye on all sorts, Ted. It's going to be class.
And the weather will be warmer by the time you return as well. So,
but I'm eating loads of rich food and that, so my buffs will be warmer as well. So I can just, you know what I mean? I'll power it with my methane.
Yeah. I mean, technically, I am classed as your now support bubble. So when you pop round and do the podcasts, we're in a bubble, aren't we? Bibble bubble. And
like I said to the coppers when they come round Broadbacks, you know, she's actually like got my spunk bubble. So that's what we do. She's in my spunk bubble, and they said that was all right.
So you've got a spunk bubble and a support bubble. Yeah, everyone should have one.
Yeah, and like she's got a little kid, hasn't she? Because it's Teesside, and they all do. Like, not that I'm complaining, but he's class as well. He started calling me Gaffer, so, like, you know what I mean? That's class.
It's a good start to work your way up to dad, isn't it? You know, like Gaffer, boss.
Well, he does. He says, "You're the boss. You're the Gaffer." You know what I mean? And I'm like, "Well, of course I am." Yeah, it's wicked. And he, like, shares. He's got loads of selection boxes left over from Christmas, and he's been sharing them with me.
Oh, hey! Don't tell old Julie that. She goes on like an early Easter egg hunt looking for a selection boxes. Only you sniff them out, man. You know what I mean?
Well, I thought she needs, like, that charity. You know, when them bags come through the door and they, like, fill it up with clothes and leave it out, right? And it's to help, like, homeless people or poor people and that. And you leave it out. Yeah. Julie once started doing that with bin bags, right? So she'd post them through the door. Then she'd just put all your fucking chocolate in. And he used to, like, just put them outside and she'd just walk around picking them up.
She put a little flyer in saying something like, New Year, New You, throw out all your unwanted sweets, chocolate, cake, lager, and there'd be like a bin bag just full of all these lovely treats like that. And then Julie, she went full pelt for it, like she hired a van and everything, and she'd just go and pick it all up. And, you know, it lasted her about a week, about 48 bin bags of crap.
Well, that's quite good for her, to be honest. She died at 40 pinbacks.
Yeah, I reckon she started somewhere, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've heard, right, Ted, and I don't want to upset you, but when she was going on bin bag patrol, she was also taking a bit of a, you know what I mean? She was helping them empty all sorts. It wasn't just the cupboard.
Oh, she was emptying other types of sacks as well. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's just what one of the lads have said. He said he'd give her a Kit Kat, and it wasn't a chocolate one.
Well, it saves me a job, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you remember in the 90s and that, where like it was a big thing to like when people put Mars bars up there. Was that just me? So I remember like when I was a bit younger, people used to go, "Yeah, she's a proper dirty girl. There, she put a Mars bar."
Did you know? You never get invited to a Mars bar party?
Well, I know I didn't. As you know, and people know now because they've seen me, I do look a bit young. So, like, when I was 18, I probably looked about 12. So I didn't really get it anymore. You know what I mean? People were inviting me and stuff like that in case, like, they were called sables.
He wouldn't let you in with your quarter of chocolate.
That's that could have worked, though, couldn't it? A chocolate.
Chocolate could be much better than putting a full Mars bar up there. Because I didn't have much money back then, you know what I mean? I couldn't turn up with a full multi-pack of Mars bars. I used to have to go in a job lot and get their own brand. Just called bar.
Hey, I've seen them. They like look exactly the same, don't they?
To be honest, fella, they all taste the same when they've been dipped in a myth. You know what I mean?
That's where the term soggy biscuit came from originally. So,
and I think, do you know what? There's all these things that we miss now, isn't it? You know, like you got Mars bar parties, you've got. I talked about this the other night on like a gig I did, but you know, who remembers having a good poke on Facebook? You know, I used to be a serial poker on Facebook, poking everyone.
Well, I remember when your mum was poking me. I was having none of it.
Oh yeah, hey mum, what you doing poking Mally? Yeah, no, it was good stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's probably good for us to talk about this discussion topic then, because I don't know if you've seen there was something going on online at the moment, and it was like loads of people asking if you could bring one thing back to Teesside, what would it be? So I thought it might be good for like me and you to like make a bit of a list and then agree on our favourite thing. Over the years, let's think of, you know, do you remember, I remember you used to buy a load of your threads, you know, like when you used to get your money through, you used to buy a lot from Yakuza on Linthorpe Road, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I did actually, yeah. Well, I used to love Yakuza, it was class.
A lot more from clothes from there, didn't you? That's why you probably got locked up. Yeah, so I was trying to like reminisce about all the good things. Like, do you remember when we used to go and have a game of pool on that funny shaped pool table at the Camel's Hump?
Yeah, well, I used to love the Camel's Hump, me, like, it was class.
It was a shaped pool table. It was like crazy golf, but with your hands. What was the point of that?
Yeah, I wasn't happy with that. Yeah, I never got round why people were playing Jenga when they were pissed. What's the crack with that? Yeah, let's go to the pub and pretend we're fucking 10. Let's play Jenga and fucking Connect 4.
You know why? Because the scruffy bastard students would buy one pint and make it last all night because they just play board games or in between every drink.
Yeah, well, I used to clean up with some scruffy students, so I used to love it.
You know what I mean?
Like flash the cash, you know what I mean? Get them a pint and a half. It was class.
Yeah. Go in the Camel's Hump, then go into the was it the tavern on the corner, the Lord's Tavern? I can't remember what it was called.
The one that's the squatter's car now in Boro. Yeah, that's it. That was it, right?
Yeah. And then we'd make our way down where the Dickens did, wouldn't we? Down Southfield Road and go in all them pubs.
Well, if they let me in with me tracky top, like, but right, it was Britpop, wasn't it? So, like, everyone used to think I was like, you know, trying to be Damon Albarn or something, but I wasn't. I was just a scruffy get. So I'd go out with me tracky top and scruffy jeans, and they used to be like, oh, he's proper indie, and my hair's like dead messy. It wasn't like, was it?
No, he's not. He's just Geordie Race. He's just scruffy
well, yeah, it was class. They had them old Dunlop Green Flash that they had since I was a kid, and they came back into fashion all of a sudden. It was like went round, didn't they?
Oh yeah, it was like you went from a zero to a hero in no time, didn't you, man?
It was class. You used to go down the proper end of town and go into like that place. Yeah. What was the pub that was there, right? Before it was Flares. There used to be a pub, didn't there? What was it called?
The Welly.
The Welly. Well, I used to go in the Welly and used to get smashed in there, didn't we?
And then half of it got turned into Flares, and then they turned it all into Flares, and now it's just a shit tip. So yeah, I missed that because we used to have remember when we used to go to the Royal Exchange and see the strippers as well. And
I do. I used to get my money off my mum from there, didn't I?
The only reason we popped in was you wanted to pick your pocket money up off your map.
I used to take a 20 Berkeley Bombers, and she used to give us some cash. I didn't like the fact she pulled it out of her knickers all the time. Do you know? You loved that. You was always swapping me, weren't you?
Oh mate, she put whipped cream all over the Babylons, and I motorboated them at one time. Just part of the show. It was good fun. That we used to go there. That was good. We used to go to Spenceley's. We'll talk about that because he might knock us out.
Yeah, don't talk about Spenceley's, man. It's crazy.
We're kicking off. Isn't it about him? Wait, we won't touch on that though. We used to go to what was the bar on the corner? Was it called something like Bar Fresco or something? Fresco's the DJ who was like 40 stone.
Yeah, he was class him. It was like across one opposite from the Ayson Park.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, and then the corner house as well. You used to be class. Your brother used to be proper mint.
Just got so many emos from the corner house, and then I'd go down to Blazers with them afterwards, and I'd just be in my element, you know what I mean? Just flange everywhere.
Yeah, well, I used to love all of that, mate. And like even back in the day when the Madison was still open, we used to go there when, you know what I mean? When you were at college then, Ted, when you were a young kid and you were studying, like, I don't know, was it brewery or something you were doing?
Studying. What are you studying, mate? Just studying, Anna, everything. That's what I used to say. Yeah. Life.
Yeah, well, I remember. It was class.
Oh, class. And then you
used to queue up for like 8 hours to get in the Empire. And it shut at 2 o'clock, and you'd queue up to get in there for like 10 minutes and then get flung out.
I know, but you'd had your highest success rate of a pork in there, so it was worth the queue sometimes. Just even if you did manage to get in for half an hour, you still had a good time set to get a pork.
Yeah, well,
You know what I mean?
That like article, right? It says, what would you bring back on Teesside Live, right? Well, I'd bring back Brian Robson. You know why? Because not a lot of people know this, but I'd give him his fashion sense. You know, when he first come on the pitch for the Boro, and he was wearing like a full dinner jacket, like a sports jacket, a shirt and tie, but then he had it tucked into a pair of Boro shorts with his socks pulled up and a boots. That was me.
Yeah, I remember.
We were back and he was like, should I get it the full strip? And I was like, no, Rob Bowie, just top half for dancing and just keep the football kit on. I mean, he went straight out to the pub after that, didn't he?
I mean, you turned up for the job interview like that, didn't you? That's where he got it from.
I didn't really get it because it said it was for a PE teaching assistant. So I wanted to show him that I could do both, you know what I mean, at once.
No, what it said it's for the PE teacher who will also cover some syllabuses of geography.
That's exactly what Rob was going for.
We're off both areas here.
Well, he's like, I reckon he was just sat down behind the press conference with them and he was just laughing, going, yeah, little did they know that they could see my hairy knackers. Now, if there wasn't a thing there, because I've got shorts on. But what a quality look. I mean, what other manager has ever pulled that off?
I've never seen anyone really, you know what I mean? That's and I don't think anyone could. You know, Karanka would have just looked like an ass.
Like a homeless person if Karanka did it.
Strachan shorts would have just looked like flares on him anyway.
But that was that. I'd bring back Robson's half and half. Do you know what I mean? It's half business Our footy player.
Yeah, I like that, yeah. So we've established there's some nightlife we'd like to bring back the town. You want to bring back Legend. I'm sure lots of people who want to bring back Janino. I'd even have him in the team now. More landmarks and buildings. What's gone now, Mala, that you'd really like to see back on Teesside?
Right, that big incinerator, right? It was a thingy which was like no health and safety whatsoever in the 80s, and you drive up there and you just fucking park your car right next to a massive hole that was about 80 foot in the ground, and there'd just be some bloke on you, chuck it in there, kids. You know what I remember? It was class, man. I remember that.
Someone would reverse up and throw in a rolled carpet.
Exactly. But they just let you come up, and like me dad would be like, "Oh, we get it all in here, kids," and you just start flinging stuff in. I mean, it was proper dangerous, that.
That's your dad stepping away from the fact you threw away all of his tax evasion. So, in fairness,
yeah, I miss that. I haven't in Haverton Hill, that massive incinerator that was mental.
Do you know what I miss? I miss the Spider Monument in Thornaby. Right now, I would still go there and run up one side and sit on the middle of it and then slide down the other as an adult. I'd still do it every day if it was still there. You know what I mean? That's probably why they took it out, because I kept still doing it in my 30s.
Would be? Well, that's what I heard. Isn't that thing on the roundabout or something now? It's somewhere.
Yeah, it's a crapper version. It's not the real dangerous one where, many a child fell or would hang off the flyover onto it. Remember that? I
used to love the bandstand in Thornaby, me, because, like, if it wasn't being used by the Salvation Army to nick money off people, right, you could use your skateboard on it, couldn't you?
Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah. To Thornaby Town Centre was fantastic. You'd had the inn shops, you'd had Wixie's hairdressers, you had Scallywags for your clothes.
There was Blockbusters and a chip shop and a bank all in a row.
Yeah, and then the flyover would take you into the path as well, right? So you didn't have to go up all the stairs. So straight on, 5-a-side, there you go, bish, bash, bosh. And then you could go down the side and pop into Gateway for your shopping, which is now...
Yeah, I was just thinking about this the other day. How mint would it have been to live in one of them flats in Thornaby Town Centre? You had everything there.
Loads of little shits running past every now and again, hanging off the flyover.
No, not them big ones, the ones that were actually like above the shops.
Oh, you mean the multi-storey flats?
Yeah, they were class, man. Like, because think about it, right? You had a pub there, didn't you? Because the Eagle was there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you had that there. You had like chip shops, and you had like even you had Domino's Pizzas there once, and you had Blockbusters, and it was just being class, man. You could have just done what you want. You could have never left Thornaby Town Centre.
The Red Balloon, Mala.
Red Balloon. Well, I got kicked out there, didn't I, for like drinking the gravy in haphazard manner.
From the ladle, you were.
But just think about it, right? You could have just gone, like, if you worked in, like, say, for instance, the Gateway, right, and you lived in one of them flats, you'd have never had to leave, like, within 100 metres of your house. That'd have been forever.
Your own universe, wasn't it? Thornaby Town Centre.
Like you said, you had the pub, so you could do fitness or indoor bowls, whichever strikes you think. Because I've always thought that was a bit mad. That, like, you know what I mean? That, like, they used it for indoor bowls, but you could have done that, right? You could have gone to Blockbusters, which was all the rage at the time. Then
get your haircut, Wixie's, get your clothes from Scallywags, get your veg from in shops.
Exactly. Do you see where I'm going with it? It's class. The betting shop was there. The banks were there, wasn't there? There was 2 banks.
You wanted to rob somewhere.
And then there was the pub, and there was the hotel as well. So if you had a missus, right, and she was up in the flat, but you pulled when you were in the Eagle, you could always go and snuggle them in an hotel, couldn't you?
Yeah. Oh, these are great days. So we're going to bring back Thornaby original town centre.
I never got rid of it, me. If you're feeling a bit nostalgic, plotters from Thornaby, get yourself to MO, because their shops is like a really scaled down version of Thornaby Town Centre.
Where's that?
MO Shops is like a really scaled down version. It has like the same sort of thing going on, but it's like tiny compared to Thornaby.
Class. Oh, I'm going to go and have a look in a nostalgic tug when I'm there.
Go down MO, man. They'll give you out. It's class.
Oh, here, listen, we were talking the other day, weren't we, on the live show that we do on a Thursday about the Millennium nightclub and Hollywood Bowl down at Teesside Park and Showcase Cinemas, and we established that Sergeant Callahan out of Police Academy opened Showcase Cinemas, and I've got a picture of her where she stood there with someone and she's got massive wangers. It's class.
Are you well? Are you, did they take her in pizza up for all they can eat as well?
Well, I would have, yeah, because if you want to get past first base with Callahan, you've got to tap it up with some food, haven't you?
Well,
you know
get her interested by carb loading her first.
Yeah, then I'd have took her in the Academy pub for a few bevies and then hopefully got her in the Millennium on the cheap.
Yeah, well, was that like that posh place? Like there used to be like a posher place when you went to Millennium that was just like round the corner from it. And they never used to let me in because they thought I was 10-year-old.
Yeah, I think that was the Academy, wasn't it? Next to it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they wouldn't let you in because you looked like a roustabout.
Yeah, but I looked like a 10-year-old roustabout. That was the thing. Couldn't help it. Yeah, I used to get flung out to Teesside Park for looking that young, you know what I mean? I'd go in and they'd be like, hey, get out, this movie's 15. I'd be like, oh, wait, I'm 20.
Yeah, but you bring your own pick and mix in, Mala, and there's nothing worse than sat with someone eating an onion.
Yeah, I've told you before, I was ahead of my time. That's Northern tapas, that. Do you know what I mean? You just bring it all in your pocket, you start having a dig. It's like vegan, like, you know, no animals were hurt during that process. You have a jelly sweet, it's got gelatin in it.
You're vegan Haribos, aren't you? Onion.
Yeah. Scruffy gets them, vegans love them, so the smelly world of vegan Haribo. Well, yeah, I'm just going to eat like a clove of garlic.
It could catch on, yeah. Oh, yeah, I do miss like the Millennium nightclub. I do, because you used to have many a good time in there and a good dance, and you know, you'd go upstairs in the Millennium restaurant and get a really bad tummy off the burgers. But I do miss it. Yeah, it was great.
You know what I miss, Ted? Right, I miss coming over to your house when we were kids and used to live on Linford Road, and like we'd be going out, wouldn't we? And then we'd have a little walk over to town because we were scruffy as fuck. We didn't want to pay any money for a taxi, even though it was only like £1. And we used to stop in the Legion on the way, didn't we? And Ernie used to like chase us, but we used to stop and have a pint on the Legion, didn't we? On the way over.
You said when I lived on Lanehouse Road, you said Linthorpe, yeah, Lanehouse.
Yeah, when you lived.
I think that's some fucking walk up, man.
Well, that's how scruffy we were.
Yeah, we'd pop in the Legion, the Queens, wouldn't we?
We'd have a couple of pints and it used to be like 60p or whatever, and we'd go out with like 20 quid and still come home. But we'd have to walk from there, then we'd have to walk over and we'd go to Dubliners and have a pint in there, then walk over to OKC's where that last worked. Do you remember her?
Oh, Irish Cathy, yeah.
Well, yeah, Ted, you loved her, didn't you? With your little dresses on and that at the time.
Yeah, I did, yeah. Yeah, we had a good time. Yeah, we'd go there, then we'd go in Walkers and we'd have a burnout.
I would, but by the time I got there, I needed to go to the toilet, so I actually had a burnout, you know what I mean? I'd go in there.
Then round the corner to the Garrick and Jockers.
Jockers, Jockers had like the more fat women per head of person than any other place in town. I once did a survey in there. It was class.
I remember when we used to go to the Vicks as well, which I think might actually be. It's next door to what the George Pub and Grill is. The Vicks, I think it was. It might be like the Clock Tower or something like that. I don't know. We used to go in the Vicks and we used to go in Yates's, didn't we?
Yeah, the Clock, whatever that one. Oh, the Vicks is the one, wasn't it? Which was 3-story. Yeah, and they used to have like sawdust on the floor for some strange reason. I never got that pub at all. And
it was like barrels, pop-up pirate barrels in there and stuff, wasn't there?
50p a bottle, I remember.
Oh yeah, it was great. And then and then by that point we'd be almost on our arse. So we'd go in Busters and we'd wait till midnight until they opened it up free to the Mall, and we didn't get ID'd.
Well,
get in. Class. Sometimes we used to just turn up our busters at 8 o'clock before the bouncers started, and we'd just sitting there conspicuously all night, hoping they wouldn't notice us. And we got through till 12 o'clock one night, 4 hours sat in busters and got in free at the Mal.
Well, I remember the busters sitting. Well, I remember that. It was like when, a conductor used to come, like, and used to send someone to the toilet. Like, if you only had 3 tickets and there was 4 years, and you're on the train, going up the Dolphin Centre to go have kick off and like poke some Darlow flange, right? It was like that, wasn't it? But like the youngest one of us, every time the bouncer was coming in, quick, go to the toilet, and you go and hide in the toilet as he walked past.
And I'd have to stick on my fake sideburns.
Right, you did look like monkey magic then. That's another
I can do that voice now. I don't know. I think I can. I'm doing an impression of monkey magic, aren't I?
Yeah. I remember them days, like the fondest in my life, right? And then even thinking back, right, even the telly was class back then, where you'd have like TGI Fridays and not TGI Fridays. What was it called, Ted?
TGI Friday.
Yeah, thank fuck it's Friday with Ginger Chris Evans, and you used to have Robot Wars, which I loved because it was class. Do you know what I mean?
It's Craig Charles.
With him, he was class. He was mean.
Hey, look at that robot there. He's going to go and fire a fucking rocket.
Yeah, me and my little brother just had a fight once with a kettle and the toaster, but we just battered it.
What are you doing, Mala? What are you doing? Charlie, man, Robot Wars.
Robot Wars, it was class. But the telly was class back then. You used to have that, and like you'd have like Red Dwarf on and stuff like that, wouldn't you? And like we'd have Vic Reed's Big Night Out, which was class, and it was our favourite one. It said.
Yeah. Oh, it's great days. Really was. Yeah. I do miss the 90s, I really do.
I remember do you know, I miss putting, don't do this wrong, I miss like an age-appropriate woman that was the same age or if not older than me, but putting your hand down and feeling a little bit of tuft. For the first time. Like the first time with that bird, I mean, that was class, wasn't it? That was like the minute, because you'd always be thinking, you'd be having a go on a Jubblies and you'd be thinking, should I, could I? Because like you didn't want to be rapey. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And you'd sneak your hand down, and then you'd think, "Oh, she's not going to stop me."
You'd take her up the stairs on the Mall, wouldn't you? Right. And it'd just be like 16 lads all fingering lasses. It was yeah, smell that. You've got me thinking there, mate, right? And I don't know, right, if the youth of today still do this or not, right? But when we were out on the pull, on the dance floor, right, we used to adopt the claw technique where you would be dancing like that, and then you'd start dancing with your back to a girl, and you'd rubbing bums and stuff like that, and then you'd put your hand on her bum like that, and if she didn't back your hand off, you knew you were in then, so then you'd turn around, and then you'd straddle her from behind, so you'd be therefore rubbing your winky on her bum, and then she'd turn around, and next thing you know, you're face to face, and then you start necking on. But the funny thing is, Mala, right, that could happen 15, 16 times a night on the dance floor. Do lasses and lads still do that on dance floors? No, they go around, cop off with everyone, and then you look over and your mate's copping off with someone you copped off with. That can't happen.
No, that's class. Yeah, totally. That used to happen, that, didn't it? It was mint. Right, but they don't do it nowadays because they're all posers and that, and then they're like, I'm going to stay in my skinny jeans and I'm going to drive me 30 grand Merc, even though I'm 17. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, they're not like us, man. We used to get smashed and have a class laugh. Yeah.
Catch up and go, how many did you get off with last night? Oh, I got off with 4. I got off with 8.
Do you remember me and you got off with the same bed when I Jane of the Jungle? You must be.
Yeah, Jane of the Jungle.
Yeah, I was all proud of myself. I was like, hey, lads, look at this. I've only pulled her up, and the lads are like, Ted had her earlier. I was like, shut up. And I said to her, did you have Ted earlier? And she was like, yeah. Oh, I still did, though, you know what I mean? Because why wouldn't you?
But it was like no one would commit at the beginning of the night. Like, so if you did start getting off with someone to begin with at the beginning of the night, right, that was it. You wouldn't see them at all for the rest of the night now. You'd see them getting off with other people, right? Until like it went full circle, and then you thought, oh yeah, I'm going to go home with him, or I'm going to cop off with him again. It was like almost trial and testing around the dance floor, and then you'd go back to your 3 o'clock choice.
Well, yeah, I think it's like a transfer market, mate, right? You'd have your top choice, and then you'd have like a couple more for that position, right? And then you'd be like, oh, that one's gone. No, move on to the next one. Do you know what I mean? And then you'd end up with someone shit like Marcus Brownie.
You'd end up going home with a fella on loan.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's class, and I do remember that. And I tell you what, right? Yeah, podcasters, you'll know this as well, right? The DJs could proper spoil your night with that, because you'd be proper grinding to like, oh, Carolina or something, and she'd be proper grinding it in there. And then he'd do a stupid music trick and put something on that totally she couldn't grind to. So it'd just stop your momentum dead. So you'd be like grinding, oh, Carolina. And the next song they put on would be like the Spice Girls, you know, where they all jump around together. And she'd run up to her mate, and I'd just look at the DJ being like, oh, hey.
Mate, I want some more fucking clunge grind.
You could have put California Love on after that.
California Love.
Well,
Twisted like that. Oh,
you know what I mean?
mate.
Like that, the DJs could proper spoil your night like that.
What else didn't ruin your momentum? Your nicotine craving, because you could be dancing with the lass and still spark a tab up. And, you'd like... Go home with 4 burn holes in your Ben Sherman shirt.
How did we not get more burn holes then? Because like 80% of the dance floor had a tap on. Do you know what I mean? It was like, how did we not?
Smoking cigarettes. The smoke machine was blasting your lungs out anyway, wasn't it?
Like that one chav who like had a bright luminous green Ben Sherman shirt, right, open down to his belly button, and he'd have his fringe like proper wet glued down with that stuff that you get from the market. You know, like that gel, like slapped down to his head, a pair of white jeans on and a pair of kickers, and he'd be like trying to fight everybody on the dance floor.
Yeah. But he'd be dancing dead aggressively, like,
well,
he'd always get his top off as well, and they'd always have class bodies, these chavs, you know what I mean? Like, they don't have gym memberships, but they probably have the diet of an Ethiopian, but they still had mint bodies. They were blessed with having rock hard bodies. The twats.
It's because they were brought up hard, weren't they? Do you know what I mean? That's what it was. They were out helping the scrap man at like when they were 6 or 7.
We'd go and stand at the Thornaby bar in the corner of the Mall, and we'd get like a castaway and a diamond white and have a blast away, wouldn't we?
That was a highlight of your night if you could pull someone from another bar. Do you remember that? Yeah. So you'd be like, come back dead proud. Here, I've only just been over there and poked a bird from the Boro bar.
But I do miss those, just being on the dance floor and just jumping from mouth to mouth with lasses. You know what I mean? It was class, wasn't it?
No, until that lad, remember, he looked like one of them lads from Hanson, and you just started necking on with him.
He had lovely blonde hair.
That way it should have given it away when you were grinding to bop.
Oh.
Like podcasters, that didn't happen, right? I was just joking there with Ted.
Well covered, man. Ted didn't
do that. But and then like, when after you've had gone and poked a bird from Boro and gone back with a Thorny bar, all triumphant, then there'd be a fight, wouldn't there? Because her boyfriend would come looking for you with loads of other Boro lads, and then all the Thorny lads would have to help you out. So I was constantly getting people scrapping because they were like, oh, Mal is going to get battered again. Oh, he's from Thornaby, oh, let's help. And he used to be big carnage.
It was great. You say, lads, if you stick up for us, I'll go man sweep some lager from the Stockton bar from you. So, just in the middle like that. Where's our pints? But they used to always. Then the Mal started getting a bit fancy, and they got that fancy laser show in, didn't they? Which like is dog shit if you think about it in today's standard of technology. But back then it was mint, like a laser light show. And then they'd start bringing special guests. I remember live on stage tonight at the Mall, or the Visage, what it changed to then, is we've got Ricky Butcher from EastEnders. And he'd come out and just throw T-shirts into the crowd.
Well, yeah, it was class. Them nights, I never used to get in them nights, because they used to be packed. That's when, like, your mum and that from the club the Queens used to put a bus on to go see Ricky Butcher in the Mall. So you'd never get in because there'd be like loads of people from the Buffs and the Queens and all that. Eston Labour Club would put a bus on. They'd all get down to the Mall.
Then they'd have like, we've got JLS live. Was it JLS? I don't know.
I tell you, it was there live.
Ain't nothing else. Anything you want me to, I can't keep my hands off you.
That Gingerbird as well, the Scouser.
Oh, Gina G.
She was live from the Mall as well because I loved that because I was right at the front when she was dancing and she had like spandex pants on.
A little bit more. Yeah, she was, yeah. Oh, it was great, wasn't it? And then like they'd have like a DJ compare on, wouldn't it? And it'd be almost like, right, we're going to get some people around the audience now to make them look like dickheads. And then they'd be on stage like that. And you'd have wet T-shirt competitions and all type of stuff. It was like basically the Mall in the 90s was like what Magaluf is like now.
That's what they based it on. Magaluf based it on the Mall. They just went, well, look at what Stockton are doing. Let's do it over here. That's what Beaver did it.
Oh, I'm missing these days so much, you know what I mean?
Basically, orderly wait for a taxi at the end of the night in that taxi rank outside, where you just used to police yourself. Like one lad tried to cut in, like 50 people in the queue. Go, yeah, fuck off, get the back of the queue. You
Doyle.
Yeah, you used to be stood with your fucking chips and that, or your palm, or your pita, and you get the front of the taxi driver, like, can't eat that in here. Fucking away, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Walk over the bridge. Red hot Parmo with our hands. If we didn't have a bit of clunge with us, like, you know what I mean. So
and having to meet, like, because there was no phones out, you'd have to talk to each other when you were out, so you wouldn't just be staring at your phone for hours.
Oh, you'd have to ring the landline, wouldn't you? You'd have to ring people's landlines to organise it.
Hey, Ted, right?
Was mental.
This is one for us, right? And maybe some of the mirrors that listen to the podcast, like, you might want to come with us, but we might not tell you when we're doing it. But I think we should have a Stockton night out, me and you, but without phones. So you're not like I only have a brick anyway, but this is to be the challenge. Don't take your phone. Could you do it?
Probably not, because Julie will go mad if she doesn't message me what she wants on the pizza that I have to bring back. You know what I mean?
Take your pager out.
Yeah, I might have to, yeah. Oh, I think out of all of them things we've discussed there, Robbo and his half and half outfit, Teesside Park, Janino, Thornaby Town Centre, I think bringing back the old Stockton nightclub scene is our choice, I think. Do you agree with that, Mala?
If they have to put the high street back to where it was, right, and let's just have right where there was like fucking 900 people out there on a night going between pub to pub. It was class.
It was just like, it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, it was just heaving. You know, I know people probably had a bit more money back then and things were a lot cheaper. Like, it was like 80, I mean, the Mall used to do 80s night. It was 80 pence a drink at one point on a Friday, and it was class. I'd love it to go back to them, because even though there was an element of trouble, because there always is when you increase footfall of dickheads out drinking, but the pubs and everything were just class, and everyone knew everyone. You know, there was always like regulars who were in there. Like, remember the Greek, the guy with a big nose who we used to always see dancing?
Well, he was class.
And everyone just wanted to be his friend. And he was probably just a serial bloody rapist, wasn't he?
Well, he probably did, man. He probably did. And, right, how was this mad is this, right? I know we're going backwards a little bit here, but now you used to smash a bird, right? And then you used to see the next week, and you like pretended you didn't know each other. But
you're getting off with someone you knew, and you're like thinking, man, Willie's been in their mouth, mate.
Yeah, no, you'd smash a bird, right? And then the next week you'd be getting stuck into a mate, and she'd get upset with you, even though you weren't with her, that you were getting stuck into her mate. What was all that about?
The good thing was, like, you couldn't be tracked down. You couldn't be tracked down and hounded like you can today. They had to get your landline phone number or your address. That was the only two means of communication. They either had to phone you or write you a letter or pop round and knock on your door and ask if you were in. So you used to just make up where you lived, false address, false phone number. They couldn't test it because they didn't have a mobile phone where they do that thing and ring you straight away. So you've got my number. They can't WhatsApp you, they can't Snapchat you, they can't Facebook you, they can't Twitter you, they couldn't do any of all that. So you used to be able to get away with it all. The only risk you'd had was turning up the following week and bumping into him again.
Well, but you used to do this a good, didn't we? Because if we did Stockton, right, and we pulled something we didn't want to like see the next week, we'd go to Boro, wouldn't we? You'd be like, oh, the chances are she'd been there. She's in there all the time. Oh, well, let's go to Boro.
Yeah, or I'd just go to a tash.
You did, didn't you? Just like one of them Play-Doh, you just like, and it just come out, you know, like in your face, just by straining. Yeah, I remember, Ted. Well,
we'd have to swap jumpers to get in sometimes because the bouncers wouldn't let us in. You swap jumpers and suddenly they didn't recognise you.
Well, you would swap jumpers me. I used to keep them because I was like, sweater shop. I'm having that. You never get it back.
Sweater shop. I'm having that United Colours of Benetton one. You know.
Oh, you just have your hyperglow on and you just chuck loads of water over yourself so you change colour differently.
And you know, like when I thought we'd finished talking about this, but I'm still buzzing about it. Do you know, like when the Malice sometimes are like drink promo nights on and they'd give away loads of freebies from like the brand. You remember the brand Mets? It was like
it
was like I don't know, like vodka BK1 or whatever it was called, Mets or something like that. They were giving loads of t-shirts out and stuff like that. And they were giving loads of glow sticks. And I remember me and you on the dance floor and you were dancing with a glow stick in your mouth like that and it popped.
Right.
So you just green teeth all night.
This is Jen. Like, this is honestly, like, podcasters, this is a proper story. This, right? I'm going to let you in on a little secret, right? They popped and it went all over my hand, right? And that night, I only got off with a girl, didn't I? On the dance floor, when it was going mad, just on the crotch area, you could just see a big luminous handprint. Remember that, Ted?
Joe. I remember that time there was a foam party as well. There was a foam party in the mall, and there was no one on the dance floor apart from this group of like 4 lasses. So I ran on like that, about to start dancing in the middle of them, and I just slipped. And just bounced straight back up and then just walked off like that. And you go, hey, Ted, what's happening to you? No, no. Fucking cut down the side of my eye. I didn't have blood pouring down. I didn't even notice because I was too proud.
I remember that. I remember when you just like a bowling ball and just wiped them out.
Yeah, shit, yeah. I skidded and knocked about 3 of them over. Oh, that was a wonderful moment. Oh, God. Oh. If somebody build the mall, rebuild it now. I'll put a couple of quid in. I fell asleep in the toilet in there and I woke up on the cleaners about 6 o'clock in the morning because I was being sick in the toilet and the fucking club had closed. Cleaner in the next morning woke me up.
Oh, you man, they need to bring the mall back down. These kids.
It was all right though because Riley's pool room was still open around the corner near the garage, so I went in there for a cup of tea in the wall. 9 frames.
That was like when you used to have dates, Ted, didn't you? You'd take them, like, if you were going to be posh, you'd take them for dinner in the Briley's pool room. You had to come, hey, come on, girl. Well, I'm going to take you to chips and chicken in a basket, and you used to have a couple of frames, I remember.
I used to do like Carlito as well. Go, hey, I'm going to show you a trick shot. Come on, this ain't trick shot. This is magic time. Yeah, used to love my trick shots. Yeah, good. Oh, what a lovely episode of reminiscing. Oh, Mala, well, I tell you what, I've really enjoyed the show today. I've noticed you've put a shell suit on and you've got some glow sticks, mate.
Well, I'm telling you now, right, I'm going to go downstairs when Broadback gets back in, right, because we're doing this by a link, aren't we? But we can see it, and I'm going to go downstairs and see if I can recreate some magic.
Oh, mate, that's going to be bloody lovely. Well done, mate. I'll let you go then, and I'll see you next time.
See you later, podcasters.
Oh, Malin, I think he's fallen a little bit for this broad backlash, you know what I mean? I have seen it once, but it was a panoramic photograph of a back, where you've got to slide the camera along to capture it on, but we won't go into that now. But good on him, lovely, and he's getting free access to internet and coffee, which helps with our Thursday night show. Yeah. Oh, what a genuinely enjoyable show to record that was. I can put my hand on my heart to you, Matters, and I can tell you that all of them things me and Mallory have just discussed are 100% true. They really are, honestly. It was great to sort of reminisce on the good old times there, you know what I mean? Every now and again we'll have a show like that where there's no quirky gimmicks, there's no fancy editing, daft characters, parody adverts. It's just good old-fashioned crack, and that's what we had today. I mean, not many people know this, but I've known Mala, and Mala's known me since we was 3-year-old. That's the God's honest truth. So, just over 18 years, really. So great show. Thank you very much for listening, if you've got this far. If you have, please share this podcast around on social media. Invite your friends to listen to it as well. Tell it, talk about it in the pub. Oh, shit, you can't, can you? Just message people. Put it on your WhatsApp group. Do what you need to do. Go around, do a billboard post, replace stolen cats on lampposts with picture of the TED HANKY podcast saying, listen to it now, you bell whiffs, you know what I mean? Do what you got to do to help us out, but it is appreciated, as is the support from our sponsors, Showcase Comedy, Boro Fan TV, The Last Stop to Edinburgh, and the George Pub and Grill in Stockton. We're back again this Thursday with another live show, so that will be Thursday the 21st of January at 8 p.m. on my Facebook page, the George Pub and Grill Facebook page, and also my YouTube page as well. Last week we had a real good chat about movies, some really funny suggestions, me and Mal are answering them and interacting with your questions. And this week we're talking about music, so your favourite musicians, songs that you like, songs that you hate, all that type of stuff, and we'll try and make it interesting and funny, so it is worth a watch, it really is. So 8 p.m. on Thursday, and if you're listening to this after the 21st of January, all the previous shows are available on my YouTube and Facebook page as well, so you'll see them all listed on there as well, so you can catch up on them so you're not missing out. So how class is that? You know what I mean? You can become a patron of the podcast. Just go to tedhanky.com and click become a supporter, become a patron, and for as little as £3 a month you get exclusive access to the episode early, you get free gifts after you've been a member for a few months, and you also get discounted tickets when we're allowed to gig again. You get personalised video messages that you can send to people, loads of other stuff as well. It's well worth it. There's 3 payment plans, £3, £5, £10, and obviously the more you pay, the more you get. But it's just worth it, and it helps us motivate to keep doing these podcasts, because episode 80, that's 80 weeks I've been doing this for now, which I think is proper class, if you know what I mean. 80 weeks. I think there was 1 week, not last Christmas, the Christmas before, where I thought, I'm having a week off. And then all of the ratings fell below par. No, they didn't. Yeah, they did actually. Look, the Boro, we've hardly touched on it today. You know what I mean? We were dreadful in the last game. We just didn't have a plan B. But we're still up there around the playoff areas, aren't we? So even if we don't get in the playoffs this season and we make the top 10, the top half of the table, I think, and I'm sure you'll agree, it's a great achievement, because we've got a very thin squad. We've hardly made any signings, and Neil Warlock has clearly got the best out of the players he's got there so far. So I won't be too disappointed, and it'll be something for us to build on for next season, when hopefully the fans can return to the stadium and we can have a proper class time and that. So listen, stay safe, keep your social distancing, wash your flanges and all that, and until next time, up the Boro and believe.